So, Ashley, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview.
Sure.
Why don't we start with you introducing yourself, so stating your name and what your current position is.
Okay. My name is Ashley Davis, and I'm a programs manager here at the Center for Conflict Resolution.
And can you talk a little bit about how you ended up at this job, what your career path was, or your decision making to get to here?
Sure. I was interested in dispute resolution work prior to even coming to law school. Okay. I kind of tried to choose a school that would have some level of a program involved with ADR work that I could potentially participate in law school.
Yeah.
And that was just research that I had done prior to even applying. So once I got into a law school, went to University of Wisconsin, and they did have a program, but at the time it was a year-long program, so I was trying to get in, and they didn't take first year, so eventually, finally got to do it my last year. And my professor was really great. We worked in the Dane County courthouses there, so we did live mediations. We also had a course during that time, and it was a few hours once a week, but we also mediated in the courthouses on Fridays. So, and those were about 3 to 4 hour model mediations. Okay. And so that was a really great experience. It was really just to show me how impactful mediation could be on real world cases. Yeah. Because a lot of times you do simulations, which we did in class as well, but like to actually see it in person and be able to work with real people, that it really just impacted me in terms of wanting to do it going forward. So with that, I checked in with my professors post-graduation because I took the clinic at the very end of my third year. Sure. And just tried to see if there was any work that I could get into doing it in Wisconsin or in Illinois. So I was applying to jobs, and I finally came across CCR's posting on Idealist and applied and immediately heard back and just followed from there. So it was just a really serendipitous kind of experience, but it was something that I had looked into prior to coming to law school and was definitely interested in, and just was able to find a clinic that was able to, really push me into seeing it live, but also getting the training so that I knew what it was about in a more intimate way. And so, yeah.
So I didn't know you when you were in law school, but you worked with Donna Erez-Navot, right? So she and I were on a panel together talking about ADR's first careers, and that's actually how this started. And I didn't mention that. But so I'm curious, because Donna also started with ADR, really it's her first career, or very early career. What type of advice were you getting from your law professors when you were like, yeah, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, she encouraged us from the start. She was like, I know it's going to be tough for you all to find jobs when you finish, but, I'm, really excited about ADR. So she kind of encouraged us from the get-go that would be something that she would be, checking in with us about during the course. So she just kind of encouraged us that there was pathways to doing it while we were there. And also would send us job postings from time to time to show us that it was possible, but also to see if we could get a job,
right.
In a practical sense. So
not just inspire, but practically say,
practically,
here you go.
You actually need a job. These loans are coming. So that was really great, and we also talked frankly just about life post law school and what that would look like, and positions in dispute resolution, etc. So. Having those frank conversations, but also she brought in practitioners to participate in our class from different fields, whether it was private practice, whether it was public service practice, mediators in the state, to kind of give us more perspective. And they also, added to the fleshing out of the different opportunities that were available with dispute resolution and mediation work, and then also just gave us more ideas about where to apply for jobs, where to look for that kind of opportunity. So that kind of shaped, our thinking around like the possibilities with doing mediation and dispute resolution work post-graduation.
So what was either your main motivator to choosing ADR, or what really motivates you today now that you're doing this work full time?
Well, my initial thoughts pre-law school, which are similar to now, just a bit more detailed, were that the adversarial system with the court that we have now in America is kind of, it's backlogged. It's also not necessarily effective for everyone, and also not necessarily useful in all cases. And so I thought it would be a nice way to provide just variety, but also be more helpful to people in a way that would get them to a solution or a place that might be better served for their situation, especially because the courts resolutions and their options for providing for people are so limited. Mm-hmm. So providing space for the parties and people to just have come to their own solutions, and how creative however they might be, to do that work in a space that's, kind of extra legal, or just providing that forum for them to do that and vent and express themselves. And so that's been realized at the job that I have now, because we work in courts all the time, but then we also get calls from people in the community who are asking about different issues and questions and concerns that they're having regarding whether it's neighbors, a landlord, or a friend, or roommates, whatever, just to talk about, how to resolve those issues. And they come up with really interesting ideas and things that, might not actually be realized if they went to court. And so it's definitely proven exactly what I was assuming that it would be, just a really great opportunity for people to really express themselves, and also providing just a mechanism for people to really achieve something even greater than what they might be able to within the court system, that's not so adversarial or so restricted or limited as to options for resolution, but also space where they could be heard.
So if somebody were to call you, it's a fellow graduate from Wisconsin or whatever, so it's a current law student, and they say, Ashley, I hear you've made it. I'm thinking about doing this too. What advice would you give them?
I would tell them to start thinking about it early. I was lucky enough to have a professor who definitely kind of pushed us in that direction and was like, you all need jobs early enough, so that we had started, 6 months prior to our graduating, looking at jobs and exploring those opportunities way before, just graduation. So definitely starting early and pursuing clinical opportunities to get contacts, just so you can have people to ask about the mediation field, because usually I feel like it's a relatively not tight-knit community. It is a tight-knit community, but a relatively small community of people who kind of know each other. Yep. So you would be able to, through one contact, be able to find out about a private practice or anybody else who's doing mediation in the field, or where you could get training. Because what I found here is that CCR tends to be at the center of a lot of those conversations, especially if you're talking about low to no cost mediations in the city of Chicago. Just because of the training it provides, which is, I guess, one of the few places where you can get the 40-hour training. And so that network kind of builds on itself. So you're able to reach out and meet all kinds of different people who are in the mediation field. Yeah. And then that will give you access to finding a job, and finding space within it to either start your own thing or to, train under someone else for a time. So definitely starting early, but also finding whatever that network is, so that you're able to kind of not just get trained, but also have access to people you can talk to physically. And
because it's not just a certification, but it's getting to know folks in this tight-knit, small community.
Yeah. Because they'll refer you cases.
Yeah.
So, if you did, end up starting something for yourself, you'd have an access point to finding out how you would be able to, practice.
Yeah. Would you say that there are any challenges that they should watch out for, and how you overcame those?
I would say, in terms of challenges, probably finding, like, outside of CCR, I'm not sure if I would have been able to find a 40-hour training that would have also had an opportunity for me to train under someone. Because the unique opportunity at the Center for Conflict Resolution is they have a mentorship program where you're able to, have someone teach you and train you on the finer points of mediating, and also get you in the door right away with that program to volunteering regularly or working in mediation regularly. So I think a challenge could just be the access point of finding a space to mediate on a regular basis and getting that started. And, if you were doing a private practice, creating a case base for yourself. So it would definitely be, I think, behoove most people to find an access point, and definitely try to figure out what kind of area they're going to do or something, so they could figure out where they're going to get cases from, how they're going to manage them, just how to get started. And I think it was nice coming here because CCR had a lot of that built in already. Right. But starting out on my own, I don't know that I would have known, what it's like to intake with people, what it's like to determine whether the case is right for you or not, or, if you are charging, how much you're charging, right? And doing all that legwork because there's more to it than just coming to the room and being like,
yeah. So like the challenges of starting up a private practice, you were able to sort of overcome those by establishing yourself within an organization, getting the additional training, which because you had already mediated, right? But that additional training, the mentorship, not only as a mediator, but doing the intake and really working with folks to figure out if their case is appropriate.
Right. And I don't think that's necessarily available everywhere, but that is definitely something that's been useful and also kind of essential to knowing, also being a better mediator. Yeah. Just knowing the kinds of questions to ask or having someone to, check in with to see, like, am I doing a good job? Yeah. There's not always that check and balance that people have.
Yeah, so the value of just working within or in partnership with an organization to get that type of support. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Anything else about the challenges or benefits of starting a career out in ADR right after graduation?
I think a challenge is always, the concern about, managing if you want to do this all the time, all day, or just you want to do your regular, like, legal work. And I think there's space for you to try to do both. It's just, you have to know yourself and figure out where that fits for you. And also, depending on the caseload or, how that's working for you, if you're able to start the private practice in terms of challenges. But I think it hasn't been too challenging for me because I'm licensed in another state. And so, I'm licensed, and so it's fine. It's been fine so far in terms of being here and working well with CCR and getting that mentorship. So I think that if I was starting out by myself, that would definitely have been more difficult. So that's something that I feel like I've overcome and been able to finesse. And also just getting better with mediation. Yeah. I think that was a challenge initially, just getting certified again to work here. But having the people here to work with, that's been an amazing help. Yeah.
So it sounds like a major piece for you is this partnership with an organization, right? That like right out of law school, it could be very difficult to start your own private practice, but to really build your skills and to meet others and to get that support and additional training, working at a community mediation center where you're able to get those resources or have access to those resources has been really helpful.
Yeah, and even the CLEs and the different, the networking opportunities at just events and things like that helps you meet other people who are doing both, like who are practicing law, doing collaborative law, and doing mediation. You are able to engage with all of those sides to see what fits for you. And I think that can always be a challenge post-graduation is finding your fit.
In whatever field you might
be in, right? In whatever field. But finding your niche, like, are you going to do a particular area, or is it just going to be, kind of general? And so I think all of those things are kind of helped by getting plugged into some sort of organization, network, or someplace where you can find that support system. Yeah. So definitely.
That's really great. That's really great. Well, I think we'll leave it there then. Okay. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this and giving me a chance to really celebrate your success as yet another person who started out in ADR as your first career right out of law school. Yeah. Thanks so much, Ashley.
No problem.